Now in this section we'll continue with our discussion on the PPP. If you remember in the previous session we have seen there are two different kinds of WAN protocols, PPP and HDLC, and PPP is going to support some authentication also apart from compression and error correction. So now in this section we'll continue with authentication. We'll see if I require to enable authentication and how we do that, what are the different protocols we use that. So my requirement is I want to make sure that the link has to come up after successful authentication. So I'm going to configure some password on both the sides and the link has to come up only after successful authentication. Now PPP authentication can be done by using two different methods or two different protocols, we can say PAP and CHAP, password authentication protocol, challenge handshake authentication protocol. Now PAP is a very simple method of authentication protocol where it is a two-way handshake process. Like in general, it is going to simply send whenever the link connectivity is established, it's going to send a username and the password. And once you send the username and the password, the router 3 or the remote router is going to check the username and the password. If it matches, then it's going to either accept the connection if it matches. If it is not matching, it is going to reject the connection. It's a more like a simple configuration or a simple way of authentication. But one of the major drawback with the PAP authentication is the password is sent in a clear text. So which means PAP is not much secure when you compare with CHAP. So on the other way, we have another kind of authentication called CHAP, Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol. Now this Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol is going to send the password in encrypted text. It's more secure when you compare with PAP, and here the router will not generate the username and the passwords, and the username and the password is only sent once it sends a challenge. Now challenge is like whenever this device when it tries to establish the connection with the router 3, the router 3 is going to send a challenge. Challenge is nothing but it is requesting for the code, or it generates one code after username and the password. It's requesting for that particular code or the username and the password, and based on that it is going to send the username and the password, and then based on that, once it sends, it is going to either accept the connection or reject the connections. If the configuration is correct, it's going to accept. If it is not correct, it is going to reject the connections. Now the major difference between these two, PAP and CHAP, is I can simply say CHAP is much more secure because it's going to send your password in encrypted text, whereas in the PAP, it is in a clear text. There's one more difference. PAP does only authentication on the initial link establishment, whereas here it's a little bit periodic. The local router checks the response time, again calculation, and it's going to expect the hash value. Now here what exactly it is going to do is it is going to generate some hash value based on the username and the password. If that hash value matches on both the routers, then only it says that authentication will be successful. So it's more like, they are not sending the actual username and the passwords. They send the code, the hash value, and the hash value will only match if they have the same username and the password configured. Okay, if the value matches, authentication is acknowledged, otherwise the connection is terminated immediately. Okay, so to configure these authentications, we need to get into the interface. So let's go ahead and verify what are the commands we need to add if I want to use PPP as my protocol on both the sides, and that too I want to use some CHAP authentication. Either we can use CHAP or PAP, whatever the authentication method we can use. Okay, the first command is we need to ensure that we go to both the router interfaces. We use PPP protocol on both the sides. So the command to change to PPP is we need to say encapsulation PPP. Now this command is going to change. By default on the serial links HDLC runs, and I'm saying that I want to run a PPP protocol, because when you run the PPP protocol, then only it's going to support authentication. Okay, so this command, and if you want to enable authentication, if you want to say that authentication is mandatory, in that case we can enable the authentication on that particular interface based on this command. So I can give a command called PPP authentication CHAP, which means I'm saying that on this interface The authentication process has to be CHAP, and it has to verify the username and the passwords. So these are the commands which we need to configure on both the routers. Okay, so let's go ahead and configure these commands first on both the routers. I'll go to router 1. I got the same topology what we have been using in our last classes. Same router 1, router 2 with the same IP addressing. I'll go to router 1, and if you verify show interface command, show interface S0 by 0. I'm not sure which protocol I'm using. I think I'm using PPP, but it's okay. Even though if you are already configured with PPP, you can one more time you can configure to PPP, and then I'm going to say PPP authentication, which authentication method you want to use. So I'm going to use CHAP authentication, and once you do this, you can see the interface change state to down. On the router 2 also, I'm going to say interface S0 by 0 and encapsulation PPP, and then I'm going to say PPP authentication CHAP. Now once I enable this CHAP authentication, you can see the interface status goes down, up and down. Now if you go back to the troubleshooting steps, if you remember, whenever you see the interface goes to down, then most likely if you're using PPP protocol, if there is a mismatch of authentication also, that is one of the common reason for the interface going up and down. So in this scenario, which we are doing the lab, we have enabled the PPP on both the sides, and also we have enabled the authentication, but we did not create the username and the passwords. And that too, the username and the password must match on both the sides. So let's verify. So we did only this part. Now we are going to configure the remaining part, that is creating the usernames. Now on the router 1, we need to create a username, and that username should match the exact host name of the remote device. Host name means, if you remember, on the router 1 we use the host name of R-1, on the router 2 we use the name of R-2. So if you want to check, host name means exactly this name, whatever you are doing here, exact host name. On the router 2, I am using R-2. So on the router 1, we need to create the username of the router 2, and on the router 2, we need to create the username of the router 1. So you can see here on the router 1, I need to create username. This username must be the exact host name of the router 2, nothing but the remote device we can say. And then the password must be same on both the sides. That's mandatory. And on the router 2, we need to create a username of the router 1. And these two things must match the exact host name. That is a mandatory condition you need to remember. Okay, so it's must. If they don't match, in that case authentication will not be successful and the link will go up and down. And even if the password do not match also, then also the authentication will go down. So remember that. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to configure on the router 1. I'm going to say username R-2. Now this username has to be the exact host name of the remote device. If you just check out here on the router 1, I'm going to create the username exact this one, and then the password Cisco123. So when you are giving the password, ensure that there is no space. If there is a space, the space also will be counted as a password. And then on the router 1, now if you want to verify on the router 1, we can say username R-2, R-1, and the password is Cisco123 or Cisco. I think I use Cisco123 on both the sides, so I'll be using Cisco123. Okay, so once I press enter, after some time I should see the link changes to up because authentication is successful here. Okay, so there is a command called debug PPP authentication. There are some debug commands we can use if you want to see the backend process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the interface and make the interface back to up just to verify the debug outputs. Okay, so you don't see generally most of the outputs here, but if you are working on the real routers, you'll see some more outputs where it will show you some authentication process more in detail. But anyway, it's okay. You can just try these commands. If you're working on the real devices, you will see some better outputs. I can see the link changes to up, and if you verify the configuration on the router 2 we have created a username and the password, and then under the interface we have used a command called encapsulation ppp and then ppp authentication chap. Okay, so this way we can enable authentication. Authentication is not mandatory, but it's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to enable. Now this is the minimum command. Even if I don't use this command, default it runs HDLC, and when I give this command, then it becomes mandatory for you to create the username and the passwords. So let's see if I want PAP as a password. Let's say password authentication protocol. Generally we don't use PAP because of it is not much secure as a CHAP. But let's say if you want to configure PAP authentication, the entire configuration goes exactly the same. This configuration, and this is now, you need to create a username which is going to match the exact remote hostname of the remote device, that is something mandatory. And then these all the commands are same. Again, you can see these commands, whatever I'm highlighting. There is one extra command we need to add, ppp pap send username and the password. Now this command is mandatory because here the username and the password has to be generated manually by the administrator. We have to use username, and the username, this name has to be the local username and the password, and this password must match on both the sides. So if you want to use PAP authentication or PAP configuration, then we need to add one extra configuration command under the interface. Apart from that, all the configurations remains the same, and this command will change anyway, because here I'm saying ppp authentication PAP instead of CHAP authentication. So if you want to verify, I can just go to the interface and I can remove, just for verification, I can go to the router 1 and router 2. I'll remove the previous authentication methods, like I'll say interface S0/0, no ppp authentication CHAP. So when you use this command no, adding anything before any command, it's going to remove that particular configurations. Okay, so same thing I need to do on the router 2. So this is the way we can edit any specific lines. Anything you want to remove, just add no before that. And then I'm going to say interface S0/0, no ppp authentication CHAP. I think I have used CHAP last time. Now if I use show IP interface brief, the interface is up, and if I use show running config, you can see on the serial interface there is no more authentication configured. Okay, but this time I want to use PAP authentication. So if you remember, already I have a username, but still I'm creating one more time. Now this is something you need to do, and then username R-2, password is Cisco123, and then what is the extra command we need to add? We need to go to the interface, we need to say encapsulation ppp, and then ppp authentication, I want to use PAP, and then we need to say ppp pap send username, and the username, it has to be the local hostname, and the password is Cisco123. So this one extra command we need to add under the interface. So let's go to router 2. We need to say interface S0/0, again the same interface. We need to say encapsulation ppp authentication, I want to use PAP authentication, and then I need to say ppp pap send username. The username has to be the local router, and then the password is Cisco123. So the password must be same. Now once I do this, I should see, when I give show IP interface brief, I should see the interface status has to be up. That's the first confirmation, and then I should be able to ping to the opposite side of the interface, that is my 10.001. So I'm able to ping from router 2 to router 1. It confirms that there is no problem. So always remember one thing, whenever you see the status of the interface as up and down, if you misconfigure the authentication process, then also you'll see the interface as down. Or if there is a mismatch of protocol, on one side you're using HDLC and the other side you're using PPP, also the interface will go down. So in your lab scenarios, if I don't use the clock rate command, if you remember in yesterday's class, we discussed we use a back-to-back cable for connecting between router to routers, and then we need to do clocking generally. We need to generate clocking on the serial interfaces manually, and that is also one of the reason which applies only in the RAP scenarios.